Hello everybody, my name is Ace. I wanted to make you guys a video talking about this Engwe X series bikes that are being released because I do not particularly like them. I don't really understand why they're released. I felt this is a pretty funny electric bike here. So the Engwe X24 is the one I wanted to talk about. This is a bike that has got 1,000 watts of motor power with 29 amp hours of a 48-volt battery capacity. It is a pretty funny bike. I don't think it's worth it. I think it's weird because it feels too flimsy to me to be a off-road bike, but at the same time it's not legal to be a street bike as well. So let's start off with this bike. How does this work? We've got 4-inch fat tires. This is good for off-road. Going to be very comfortable, good on sand, good on snow. It's going to have pretty bad rolling resistance. You're going to be pretty slow with pedaling, going to be heavy. It's going to be a little bit difficult maybe to turn as well. We've got the 24-inch wheel. That's why I think we've got the Engwe X24 for 24-inch. So we've got then 24-inch wheels, which could be maybe an issue because I don't find so many 24-inch wheels or 24-inch tires out there. I think it might be a little bit difficult to find replacement tires just because it's not very common that I see the bikes using 24-inch tires. A bit weird tire size in my opinion. We've got then a seat with a pretty big degree of comfort. We've got shock absorbers, and back here and in the middle of the frame we've got a suspension here, and then we've got the dual crown fork. So we've got the seat that's being pretty heavily suspended here, so it looks like this is a pretty comfortable ride, especially when you combine this all with the fat tires. So should be a pretty good ride. I've actually ridden the Engwe Engine Pro and it's not got as much suspension as this. It's got smaller wheels and it was a really smooth ride in terms of its comfort. So I really like that. I think that this is probably a very you could say a very smooth and comfortable ride. Unfortunately, this bike does not have any mudguards, so then you're going to get a very dirty butt when you're going around and riding this. And then its rear rack composed of a seat post, so a little bit difficult to carry stuff here, but at least you can carry a passenger. I prefer to actually have regular rear racks because I don't usually, in many countries it's actually illegal to carry a passenger on the back like this, so I like to be able to have a rear rack which you could carry luggage a bit easier. But I guess you could also carry luggage here on the cushion as well at the same time. Frame. How is this frame? This frame, I don't like this. This bike is made to be a little bit more like off-road style. The X series of the Engwe bikes is like more like off-road style bikes, and I don't understand this weird frame size. I don't like this. It does not look at all stable to me. It looks like it's going to snap in half. The reason if you're going to go like an off-road bike, then you're going to want to have a really stable, proper frame. This does not look good to me because you've got so many weak points here. Look at this weak point here. It does not at all look stable here. Look at these small weak points here. All these shock absorbers, this looks very weak here to me. The reason I worry about this is because there's a perfect example here. China bike here, this folding bike here, which these all are bikes imported from China. Most of the good stuff lots of good stuff can also come from China, but I'm talking about like these imported models that come from China in this format, in these fat tire bikes often are seen. They have a tendency to not have the best amount of frames and be overly advanced looking and not really being so robust. And a good example here is Sam Pilgrim, where he tried to do a little bit of off-roading with one of these bikes and it didn't actually go too well here for him. You can see here you can see a similar type of frame, like very flimsy looking frame, got the really fat tires to look really cool, but actually in actuality it's not the most robust it's not the most robust type of bike. You can see there, it just snaps in half. So this looks a bit more robust than the bike he was riding, but this does not look to me like a stable off-road frame. I'm sorry, I would not want to trust my life in this. Okay, so then this folding mechanism, I don't think this is particularly useful. It is useful in that maybe you want to haul this bike to someone's friend or your family in a car. I can see that being useful, but in terms of using it as a folding mechanism to carry it on the train, commuting, or any types of like stairs or anything like that, do not think it's a good idea with a 41 kilo bike. With 49 kilos, I think, is with the batteries in. It's not going to be, you're going to have to be a good weightlifter to be able to carry this with ease upstairs. You're going to tire yourself out straight away. So it's going to be pretty rough. In terms of lights, we've got rear lights here and front lights here, so that's good. And then, how is the battery then on this? It's a dual battery bike. In terms of dual battery bikes, I'm not really too fond of them because I feel like, okay, it's more points of failure for your system to break down on. But then again, maybe it could work as a backup as well. If you have two batteries, if one fails, then okay, at least you have the other one. But it's got lots of small batteries, lots of small intricate parts. To me, it just feels like this is just the whole rolling parts. There's rolling bolted together parts with multiple batteries, weird looking frame. It's not going to be particularly well suited for off-road with everything rattling about and dividing everything up into these small batteries. And I just don't like having to keep an eye on multiple batteries, the percentages, etc. I like having just one battery where I can just recharge it and that's it. But it's got a pretty big battery. That's a very good thing about this. 29.2 amp hours. You're going to get pretty far on that. But then again, pretty hard to come far when you've got fat tires like this with a 41 kilo bike or 49 kilo bike. So good, but also it's sort of required to get a significant distance on this kind of bike, I would say. And it's got a mechanism of removing which is pretty difficult to remove. You've got one in the seat post here, the seat post battery, which is good because it's hidden, but like it reduces the risk of theft. But it's going to be, you have to take out the whole seat to be able to remove the battery. Then you've also got a battery inside the frame here, which you can remove and put on. So it's good that these are all hidden and pretty well integrated. But if you want to remove them, it's going to be pretty difficult. So it's like pros and cons. You've got a good battery that you're able to remove. You've got batteries that are able to be removed, but mainly staying there. Otherwise, you can just plug everything in and then charge it at the same time as well. The range here, we've got a range of 150 kilometers, and that, like, I do not believe that at all. 150 kilometers, no way. Guys, I have a bike, my own bike. I've not showed it to you guys, but my bike, I tried to optimize it for range. It's got the low seat, like low handlebars, so you can have it go less, more aerodynamic. Pretty thin tires with a very good tread pattern for roads, like slicks, 2 inches wide, 29-inch wheels on a mountain bike. So then it's got like slicks wheels, so it's going to be good rolling resistance. It's got 250 watt motor. This is 1 kilowatt. I've got 250 watt motor with a 30 amp hour battery, 48 volt, and that can barely come 100 kilometers, barely. And they're telling me 150 kilometers on 1000 watts. I do not believe that at all. My guess is that this will come up maybe 60 kilometers maybe. I would not say probably more than 60 kilometers. Will prove me it could be something different, but based on the specs of the bike and the best specs of the battery, it should not be able to come particularly more, unless you're a tiny person going 12 kilometers an hour in like the lowest power setting. Then maybe 150 kilometers is feasible. Then one thing I want to check here is the brand of the hub motor. We do not have any particular brand here, and that's not so good, because I like to be able to see like Bafang or some kind of branded hub motor, because then it means that, okay, yeah, you know what you're getting. Otherwise this could be some random brand that is not really well known, and perhaps it's not got so good replacement parts, etc., or good quality control. And that's something important actually when it comes to these relatively cheap e-bikes, or the e-bikes from these Chinese companies. The motor is also 1000 watts, and this, I don't get it. There are not many countries where this is illegal e-bike wattage. In Europe, this is not legal. In even the US, freedom, 750 watts are mostly the limits there. So this is basically like an off-road exclusive. And if you're then looking from an off-road perspective, this is built to be more like with a seat, so someone sits here and the flimsy frame. I don't see it being a particularly good off-road at the same time. It's got like the dual crown fork and everything, so it's like it's got the beefy fork, but the frame, the seat post, to me does not seem to be really. The frame and the back seat there does not seem to be very well suited for an off-road bike. So it's some weird kind of hybrid between off-road and a kind of city bike where you would have a passenger on you. Maybe it's made to be more of a moped than an e-bike. If that's the case, then it's fine. If you're going to use this as a regular e-bike where there's not licensed or registered, then this is going to be pretty difficult to pass in cities. In terms of its bike components, we have got the hydraulic disc brakes. So good that we got hydraulic disc brakes, because no, this is not the right one. This is the one right here. Hydraulic disc brakes, always nice to see. Got some good stopping power from that. And then we've also got Shimano 8 gear, so that's pretty good. I don't know which tier of Shimano it is. Probably Shimano Acera. That's often what Engwe uses, but at least it's a Shimano one at 8 speed, so that's good. The derailleur is something I'm not too fan of. I love internal geared hubs, but it's hard to have that when you've got a hub motor over here. That is going to perhaps be a point of maintenance here. And this bike can be bought in EU and also US warehouses, I believe. So who is this bike for? I don't really know who this is for. I think this is perhaps people who want to use a moped and have a type of pedaling mechanism as well. I can see that would be useful, and have still pretty decent shock absorbing, but at the same time not someone who wants to go like crazy off-roading, because I don't think that's going to be particularly safe here. If it's worth the price, €2,000, for 1,000 watts and 29 amp hour battery in an e-bike with this much suspension, I'd say it's worth it. But in terms of the practicality, I would say no, it's not worth it. I would not want to. I would instead use $2,000 on some other type of e-bike instead. That is more practical for my use cases. So should you buy it? In my opinion, not. But I see that people are trying to, Engwe is trying to make some innovation to try to make new types of e-bikes. They made very cool ones before, and I like seeing them try new things. But unfortunately, this one I'm not too fond of. I would not buy it, unfortunately. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. That's the review on the Engwe X24 and my opinion on whether or not you should buy it and what the breakdown of the specs are. If you did enjoy the video or learn something new, please leave a like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys later.